So we should be live on Facebook now.
Okay.
So you can see if you see it. If it's not on your page, tell me and I can just share it.
Thank you. Yep. I can see it.
I'm gonna try the. I'm gonna set my phone live for IG as well.
Okay.
We'll see if that'll work. If it doesn't work, then we'll just stay on Facebook. It's no big worries.
Okay.
I should be live. I'm live on IG now if you want to jump in. All right. Well, I'll start it off, and if you jump in IG, you do. If not, we'll go just stay Facebook because I'll get questions from there. All right, this is one-on-one conversations with Coach Jay Brown on the episode of Full Court Press with Coach Jay. I have with me a special guest today, Coach Dawn Brown. No, we're not related, but hey, all Browns are related, right? I'm gonna start you out with the first question that I start everybody out with, just no matter who it is. Tell me that one time you caught that whooping that you were like, oh my God, I got to work at this thing to be a good coach because I just got beat badly.
You know, I think the biggest, one of the games that stand out the most to me, we were playing Jackson State, my first year as a head coach. We were up 3 with 3 seconds left on the clock. They did not have the timeout advance rule. They were able to take the ball out, have to bring the ball the length of the court, the length of the floor. Threw up a Hail Mary, sent them into overtime. Hit the shot, 7 minutes of overtime, and we lost that game, I think, by 2, when we very well could have just probably contained, fouled, put them at the free throw line. They were shooting 1-and-1, got a rebound, and it would have been ball game.
Understood. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, or my viewers in particular. Tell them about yourself. Tell us about your coaching journey and what made you get into coaching.
You know, I've been blessed to have an opportunity to be coaching the game that I love so much for well over 11 years. I started coaching because of my high school basketball coaches, Maxine Johnson and Harriet Speech. You know, I found myself like, you know, always wanting to be around them, wanting to mimic them. You know, wanting to be just like them. You know, they were mentors to me, powerful young Black women in the Black community, coaching at a local public school, and I fell in love with both of them. You know, I started coaching at Tougaloo College, left Tougaloo, did 3 years there at Tougaloo, had some great success while we were there, left there, went to Prairie View, was at Prairie View for 6 years. I started off as the last assistant on staff, moved up to associate head coach, and within year 3, I was the head coach there. We won 4 championships in 6 years, had some great wins versus Sam Houston, University of Houston, Louisiana Tech, Nichols, Lamar. Great showing there, left there. Took a year off, had a baby, had a son, Camden, embracing the first year of motherhood. Got back in at a Division II school called Shorter University in the Gulf South Conference. And from there to Jacksonville University, here to UAPB.
Yes, to UAPB. I think I figured out who you were while you were at Prairie View. And then I think we had some conversation when you first got the job at Shorter. And then, of course, you went on to Jackson, and then now to where you at UAPB. I used to live in Little Rock, by the way. That's where my daughter, lives. That's what I know about UAPB. Actually, I met Jessica Kern when she was an assistant at UAPB, and I was assistant at Arkansas Baptist.
Okay, good deal.
So, all right. So, who were your biggest influences? You may have already answered it a little bit, but who were your biggest influences in coaching and your mentors still to this day?
You know, one person that's on speed dial is Coach Yo at Ole Miss. I talk to Coach Yo very often. Somebody that's been dear to me. We've been close friends I know for well over 7 or 8 years. And it was funny because once I got this job here at UAPB, she had just finished her first year at Ole Miss. And so it's kind of like some of the things that I went through this year, she had already endured in her first year at Ole Miss. Obviously on a bigger platform, but that's somebody that, you know, on speed dial, doesn't matter what time of night it is, what time of day it is. I can always count on her to be there for me. Coach Joni Crenshaw, Joni is my Sarah, and she's been there. Someone also who helped me transition from Prairie View back into the game. Very vocal, very positive person. You know, and Tron Griffin, that's like, you know, one of my closest friends. He's like a brother to me. And I don't even think that he even knows that he is one of my mentors. There's nothing that in this coaching profession that I kind of go through that I don't talk to or consult him. So I would like to think, you know, it takes a village, but those people that you can call on, that you know that if you know, are you going through some adversity, who you can pick up the phone and call, and then giving you a listening ear is, you know, I would say those would be my biggest three.
That's good. That Coach Tron is still at Stetson, right?
He's at Stetson. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember he was with you, I believe, and then he got the job at Truett McConnell, and then now he's at Stetson. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With all that, and I've been talking to Coach Yo too myself as far as IG. She's actually supposed to join me one day when she has a little bit of time because she's been real busy. But it's really nice to know that. I'm gonna go with one question from Facebook because it's already popped up, and I like to keep questions from there. The question is, how has your transition been so far at UAPB?
You know, this has been a wonderful transition, being that I'm a product of an HBCU. I'm a product of this conference. So very familiar with University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. And so, you know, taking this job, I felt like this was a great opportunity for us to lay a foundation to turn a program around who's never been relevant. You know, the last time I think that they were successful, had a successful winning season was in 2012. And then prior to that, you know, the only championship that this women's basketball program has is in the 1966-67 women's basketball championship. So taking on this program, it was a no-brainer. Really comfortable in a good spot at JU. But coming over here, it has been wonderful. You know, we transitioned from an administrative change with one AD to the next, and it's been a smooth transition for me, but really and truly enjoyed embracing the culture here. This is a college town, a lot different from everywhere that I've gone. So, you know, I go to Walmart, go to, hey, Coach Brown, you know, so everybody, the new coach, but really exciting. The transition has been really well. The young women were bought in from the interview. They were part of the interview process. And so they've been bought in, and I hadn't gotten any resistance from them, and administration, our chancellor, everything is beautiful. It's a great situation here.
Got you. Another question popped up, and I was going to go into mine, but it's another good one. How has your recruiting approach changed during the pandemic?
You know, I think the only thing is different is you're having to communicate with them a lot more, your culture, the things that you believe in and what's important to you. And that's one thing that my staff and I have done a really good job of, as far as painting a picture for our student athletes, for them to understand, you know, what they're going to be getting. I tell kids all the time, and this is probably a cheat sheet, I'm probably about to help out some coaches out there. You know, anywhere you go, every classroom is going to have 4 walls. You know, it's going to be 94 feet of hardwood. It's going to be 2 goals on each end. All of that's going to be there. And so, you know, the locker rooms, you know, if you want to go somewhere that got a lot of stuff, then I tell them from the beginning, you know, this isn't the place for you. If you're looking for a city where it's always something to do, this isn't a place for you. But if you want to be able to go somewhere and build a legacy, leave your legacy, then this will be a great fit for you. And so they've been buying in. Like it's been really well for us. They just, I don't know, it got good. Like, Coach, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do it. So I'm excited about it.
Your buddy just popped in and said, "Hey there," and I think
who is that?
Coach Yo just popped in on Facebook.
She missed her shout out. She late.
All right. So because I know the most about you when you were at Prairie View. Tell me what it took. I know you took over after how many championships y'all had already won? Because I know
We had won three.
you won
Three.
how many as the head? Three? Oh my gosh, my phone's going in and out. Oh,
I won one.
you okay? There it is. You won one as what now?
I won one as a head coach, three as an assistant.
So tell me what it took. It's about building that championship culture, even as an assistant coach. But when you took over as the head, how was it? How were you able to sustain that same championship culture?
It was, Jay, it was very difficult, coming in. I think one thing that, everybody tells you when you change seats, it's going to be different for you. And I came in with my mind saying, okay, hey, I want to do things this way, X, Y, Z. This is what I've been waiting to become a head coach, and this is what I want to do. And so I'm not going to say that I changed everything completely, but I did change a few things that I thought that would have been good for the program. And having those young women to buy into who I am, because as an assistant, you're recruiting them a lot differently than a coach, believe it or not. You at this point, you're all in their personal business trying to figure out, hey, what's going on? You got to know who the handler are, who the handlers are, and all these other great stuff. And so taking on that head coaching position, one thing that I wanted to really and truly embrace was to continue a strong culture, the family winning tradition type of culture. And I think I struggled. And to be honest with you, a self-assessment would say, I had some failures. We went 0-11. We started off the season 0-11. And I think because we had a tough preseason, it was tough. No excuse to that. But, changing up some things that probably shouldn't have been changed, to be honest with you. And, at this point, how people, your fans, not your supporters, it's the difference between fans and supporters. So, how fans are and you start listening to that stuff. And then I think Coach Tron and I, my staff, Damon Moore, Indian Elliott, at that time, we were like, we're going to keep our head to the ground. We're going to keep sniffing this thing out. And we went on a 7-game winning streak right after the Christmas break. And we won a championship that same year. We started off 0-11. And so just being able to refocus a group of young, hungry, talented young women. But, the great thing about it is, Jay, they never stopped believing. They were like, Coach, let's do this. We're going to do it with you. And having young women, a group of people to collectively believe in you, to help continue to push you outside of your comfort zone. I think any head coach would love to have that in order to help them be successful.
So when you got to UAPB, knowing the history of it, what was your initial focus when you got there? I mean, every program I think is different, but going into that after being at JU and being successful there, being successful at Prairie View and even at Shorter, what was your initial focus going in there? What were you trying to do?
Well, I honestly, to be 100% transparent with you, I really wanted to go back and prove, what I'm capable of doing as a Division I head coach. With my transition leaving from Prairie View, it's no secret, very comfortable in that situation. It was very difficult for me to land a job becoming a Division I head coach again. So, having an opportunity for our chancellor, our athletic director, to take a chance on me, and said my focus was, I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to work my butt off to do everything that we can do. My staff and I putting together an all-star, putting them together, making everything, kind of click and roll, having an opportunity to turn a program around who hadn't been successful in well over, hadn't won a championship in 40 years. Right. That spoke volume to why I decided to take this job here. That meant nothing. It made nothing but sense to me. And so having people to believe in you, and I felt like it was a challenge, familiar with the conference. I'm a product of an HBCU. I believe in it. I believe in everything that we stand for. It was a no-brainer for me.
we're not going to go into deep detail, but leaving Prairie View, how difficult was that situation, and how much did you blame yourself, so to speak, or just how much did you just go into it and be like, I could have did this better, I could have did that better? Anything in general to that nature. Just speak on that. Before you do that, Coach Ed Giff said Coach Don Brown gets the job done, period.
Coach Gabb. To be honest with you, it's one of those things. It was a learning experience. First time head coach. I think any coach that sits in that head chair goes back and reprocesses things that they've done right, things that they've done wrong. Once you have your heart in the right place when you're making decisions as a head coach, you'll find out that sometimes you don't have regrets, or, sometimes you think about, well, I could have done things a little bit differently, or more creatively. But it's a lesson learned for me, because I think that you have to have a strong relationship with the people that you work with, the people that you work for. You need to go in there knowing what their agendas are, but they also need to know who you are as a head coach and what you stand for and what you believe. And it's not always on administrators to establish those relationships. A lot of times, us as coaches, we have to go about doing things certain ways so people can understand who you really are. And when people understand who you really are, I think that they'll know that the person that they're really getting. And, not to change subjects, but, I think that that's what I was most thankful for taking this job here at UAPB, because my chancellor and our director at the time, they were like, well, we know who Dawn Brown really is. We know who you are, and this is who we want to lead our program. So for me, it was a learning experience. Prairie View was a wonderful opportunity. 6 years there with the success that we had. I think sometimes God has a way of working in mysterious ways. Sometimes he pushes us outside of our comfort zone to stretch us, so we can be more faithful and more servant to him. So we had accomplished everything that we could have accomplished while I was there for the 6 years that I was there. And so, it was time to leave, and, hate the way that it happened, but, thankful for the opportunity of being able to be there.
With that, you said you took a year off to have a baby, obviously. But so with that, outside of being a mother for that year, how refreshing was that year off, and how much did it change your focus?
Well, I had an opportunity to be back at home with my family. In coaching basketball, you're always gone. And, supporting my fiance, he coaches college football, defensive coordinator at Alcorn State University. So having an opportunity to support him a little bit. But, getting back in the community, I was actually hosting a lot of camps and clinics in the city of Jackson for free for our students, for young upcoming, these kids were like middle school, elementary school. So being able to do that on a regular basis, working young people out. I was taking time out to do that, but going out, sitting in the gym, watching teams practice, talking with coaches, getting on the phone, watching games, had an opportunity to go travel and watch Coach Yo coach versus Auburn. Got a chance to go watch Coach Tron coach at Truett. So it was a blessing having an opportunity to go back and be a student of the game. And I really enjoyed that.
That's good. I actually took the past year off and working my way back into it. So let's talk practice planning. I got a few different topics. Some of them will come off the page. Some of them will come off as something that you may say. So with practice, let's talk practice planning. After the lights are done on Midnight Madness and all that, and you're getting ready for that Monday's practice, there's no game coming up. How much time do you and your staff particularly prepare for a practice?
Well, we have some things that we do every day. Our stations, split them up and guard posts, being able to work on fundamental stuff. We do those type of things every day in practice. We don't spend a lot of time on practice planning. We pretty much know what we need to go over. It's already set for the week, the things that are important that we need to focus on. I give each one of my assistants a portion of practice for them to shine. I think that's really important because when, you know, as a head coach, you're up coaching, you're walking up and down the sideline, you have those assistants around you, and those young women need to be accustomed to hearing them make corrections and teaching, so you know, they can be able to process what's being taught. So I give my coaches an opportunity to get on the floor and teach and install and you know, just kind of be hands-on. So, you know, we practice really early in the morning, 6 a.m., start stretching at 5:45. So, you know, when you go that early in the morning, they'll be hungry probably around 8:30, 8 o'clock-ish. And you really can't practice them that long. So it's a lot of high energy, a lot of hype. Coach Adams, my assistant coach, he's crazy. Like, I mean, he's just up, like you would think that he can swing from being that early in the morning. He's up and singing, and it's a great atmosphere. So, you know, we don't really spend a whole lot of time on it. Probably about prepping, probably 30 to 45 minutes a day before, if that.
Got you. So with that, since you already have your plan already set for the week, how do you do? Well, you said you do some everyday things, but some of the other things that you've already prepared for the week, how have you decided what you're going to do in practice?
I think everything is based off of what part of the season we're in. You know, obviously, if it's the preseason, you have to focus a little bit more on repetition, teaching footwork, over install of offense and defense. You know, working on shot selections out of the offense, you know, working on footwork, you know, just different portions. We usually call it something like part, whole, part, getting things up in parts, going back to see the whole picture of it and then breaking them back up again. So we do some of that. But I think the other piece is too, though, you know, as season starts to grow, what ends up happening is we focus a little bit more on scout specifics. So we spend 30 minutes getting up shots. We'll spend 30 minutes on scouts, installing and teaching, going over the scout, and then those last minutes we just, you know, shooting and going through our offense and turning over our offense to watch it work. So, you know, I don't really believe our practices. I feel like you don't have their attention that long. So we're probably in the gym a good, you know, a good 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. And so unless we're shooting free throws or something like that, but I don't really believe in those long drawn out practices.
How important is individual workouts or individual skill development to you and to your program?
You know, that's a great question. I think that any coach that has an opportunity to get their players in the gym to work with them one-on-one, you want to with them, especially in this preseason. Have an opportunity to get your freshmen, your newcomers acclimated into the things that you want, what type of shots that they'll be taking in the offense, actually working on those fundamentals, because just like I said before, you know, we don't practice a long time. And so having an opportunity to go over, you know, having individuals 2 or 3 times a week at 30 minutes apiece, 30, 45 minutes a pop, you know, you really put yourself in a situation where you can get more shots up. There's not enough time in the day for us, especially being at HBCU. So you got volleyball coming in, men's basketball coming in, classes coming in. So you have to take time to get those shots up and work on those things one-on-one. But I think I really enjoy watching our assistants, my assistants work with them and putting their arms around them and loving on them. And I have an opportunity to host players, you know, quite very often. So, you know, it's a great experience for them to be able to have some one-on-one time with us to ask questions, because, you know, sometimes, you know, they don't really ask questions when they're around a big group. Right.
With that, you said you came out of an HBCU. Where did you play and how was your playing career?
I had an opportunity to play for Denise Taylor at Jackson State University. And, you know, Coach Taylor doesn't know it, but she's by far one of the most instrumental people that was in my life at that time. Her, Coach Larry McNeil, and Gloria Miller. You know, that staff was so dynamic, and we just wanted to do any and everything to make them happy and to work hard for them. So I had an opportunity to win a regular season championship when I was there with Coach Taylor. Being from Jackson, it was very rewarding for me to have an opportunity to play at home in front of my friends and my family. It was a great atmosphere, and things Coach Taylor had just taken that job probably about 4 or 5 years coming out of the WNBA. So she was very renowned in the community and around the city, and so we walked around thinking that we were that it factor, and it was great. There was some great basketball back when I played. Shirley at Alcorn, powerhouse basketball program. Sandy Pugh was at Southern. Frida Allen Jackson was at Alabama State. And these coaches are still in this league coaching right now today. So, the camaraderie was just there. My college experience was one that I will never forget. It was wonderful for me, and really excited about the time that I spent while I was there.
With the pandemic, when they let us back out of jail, as we call it, how will your recruiting approach change then? Because now we're having to be more personable. We have to talk, and you have to be able, at this point now, you have to be able to sell just whatever it's going to be to sell. Like, you have to sell the program because there's no visual of it. There's no practice. There's no on-campus visits, none of that. So now you have to sell that visual. So how will that change when you're able to go back to being able to sell the visual of campus or the program, or does it not change for you?
Well, you definitely want to have an opportunity to bring them to campus and everything. We've been doing a really good job of killing Twitter. Twitter has been really, really good for us. I really didn't even, I've never been a Twitter person as much as I'm now. And so, kids are hitting me up like, I posted a tweet probably about 2 months ago when I got about 3,000 retweets, and I'm like, I'm not even that popular. And so, but the made talking about what coaches were looking for at the time. Players, coaches, and programs, AAU programs just started like feeding us, sending us kids left and right. And so, I'm excited. I was looking forward to actually hosting a camp on campus this year. So we are still, when the pandemic is over, we'll be creative and maybe have like an all-star camp where we can bring them on campus in August. But, hey, nobody knows. And so whenever we get an opportunity to get back out and get in the community to show our face, we're going to run. We're going to run and get there, because I definitely miss being able to see them and bringing them on campus and so they can see us also.
I think you've given me an idea that I'll share with you when we cut the live.
Okay.
Because when I do these conversations, I'm learning myself. I've taken something out of every single one of them, no matter who my guest has been. And I try to put it in my brain, the back of my brain, and use it. So I'm gonna give you an idea that I think might be really good for us. So with recruiting, while we're still on that, how important is social media now to you? You just said you were not a big Twitter person. I know you, IG. That's been, I know that's one of your things, but how is it now that you really have to be involved in that? So how much going forward are you going to use social media?
Let me tell you, I probably shouldn't say this, especially if any administrators ever hear this. But I think what the coronavirus has done is shown us as coaches how to be more resourceful. I think you can go back and look at how much money that you've been wasting and spending. Actually trying to go to each and every tournament that's out there. And for us at UAPB, and I'm only going to speak from my program, it's really not necessary. You don't have to go to, for us, I wouldn't have to go to Maine or Maryland to find the next best shooter in the league. And so it's allowing you it's forcing you to be more creative and more, it's challenging you, because now you really and truly have to communicate, like I said, more on a higher level, because now you need to know everybody's who's impacting this kid, their decisions and what they're trying to do, their goals. When initially you'll go out and you'll see them and then you're sold on talent alone. And then that's why last year you had 930 30 plus kids in the transfer portal. So now you have an opportunity to build relationships, which has been great for me because, now, you tweet something about, I was talking to a kid in Jacksonville, Florida, St. Augustine, Florida, found out like the kid is kin to my third cousin and all this, and all this happened on Twitter. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So like, it shows you the connection that can be there. But if it's just talent alone, you just going to the gym, taking notes on them, going back and writing it down, you may not have some of those conversations. So it's definitely teaching you to be a lot more resourceful.
Do you think the relationships now with player coaches at the next level, well, not even gonna just say at the next level, at the college level, but even in high school, now the player connection coach is gonna be, the player coach connection is gonna be that much stronger now?
I believe so. I think so because of the fact that you having an opportunity to trust each other now. You could bring a kid to campus for, I toured Ole Miss campus. So I toured Coach Yo's backyard and looked at all the snacks that's lined up on the wall. They just got stuff, it just makes no sense. And, for her, the advantage is we got to get them to campus. And when we get them to campus, they're ours. But for us, that's not always at HBCUs, that's not always the case. Our enrollment at UAPB is probably right there about 4,000. When I was at Prairie View, we're at 7,000, 8,000. And you look at a team like, a school like an Ole Miss that has, I don't know, 2,000 kids. I mean, I don't even know how big that would be. But I think that you're going to have to put yourself in a situation to where now you sell yourself and you'll build that trust relationship, because as a coach, you gotta know what you're getting, and you didn't have an opportunity to watch and follow her from gym to gym to gym to kind of see exactly, what kind of kid am I getting? And so for us, I think it's allowing us to build a stronger relationship and a stronger bond with them.
Coach Yo just put the big eyes up, and then she put 30K behind it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on live. Okay. My wife is coming downstairs telling me something funny. And I know it's going to be okay. She was already laughing, so I know it's going to be funny. So I got a question from here, but before I ask you that question on there, because it still pertains to recruiting, but I want to ask you, how important is it that you recruit the parent too?
We've always been that way. I think my staff and I, even when I was an assistant coach, my former head coach at Jacksonville University, Darnell Haney, they were really, really, really big on get on the phone with the parent. I think out of respect for our student athletes, I think it's important that you talk to parents because of the fact that the parent needs to understand who they're trusting their child with, not listening to their child to find out, what type of person was she or he. You need to trust who they are. And so I think, even that year that I took at JU, Coach Yo started I'm not just talking her up. Now, let me just say this, as she watched talking her up.
Let me tell you, she's great because outside of yourself and Coach Kern and a couple others, she has actually been one of the few, and maybe this will give you some brownie points, I don't know. But no, she's actually been one of the few coaches that will respond when I ask a question.
Okay, that's her. That's her.
Because there are a lot of coaches out there that won't respond to high school coaches like myself who are trying to simply learn. I'm not looking for a job from anybody. If it comes with the territory, but I'm truly asking. And they're saying, she responds. It may not be every day and it may take her a while because she is busy, but I give her credit. And I give you credit. I thank you for that, because a lot of coaches don't respond. When they don't know you, it's like, well, okay, let me just do it anyways. So I give her credit for that, and yourself, like I said, because we were familiar with each other, but you really didn't know me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we've had conversation and so on down the line, but it was just beautiful that she was willing to do that. So no, I know you're not talking her up because everything you're saying about her is true.
Yeah, but I think one thing that they did a really good job of at JU was is recruiting the village.
Right.
I need to talk to mom, dad, high school coach, AAU coach, grandma, third cousin, your boo, who it is, your mentor, it doesn't, middle school coach, you name it. And we weren't always like that. When I was even at Prairie View as an assistant, I think I can kind of paint a picture for you. So if you recruit a kid and you've been watching her play AAU ball, and then she commits to you, or you offer her, she commits to you, and while she was playing AAU, sometimes you take out recruiting the high school, because at that point, the kid is already yours. That actually happened to me this year with a kid that we offered, TK Busby out of Skyline High School in Dallas. We offered her, had a great relationship with her AU coaches, signed her and everything before the season kind of kicked off. And then we were backdoor looking like, okay, y'all, we got to go and talk to the high school coach. We need to know what else is going on with her. So that was one thing that I definitely learned, something that I was learning from when I was at JU with Coach Haney, is definitely have an opportunity to recruit that village. And I think that that's very important for you to get a whole dynamic landscape of who that student athlete is.
Good. So one of the questions is still in recruiting. It says, what is the best way for a high school coach to introduce a player to you?
To me, but for me, I think timing, you have to understand that everybody in the country is trying to sell their kid. Be persistent about it, because I know for a fact lately I've been doing a pretty fair job of trying to look at everything that's being sent to me. I think that you have to be strong in your belief of what you feel of this student athlete, but I think it also goes about fit. I think that if you have a kid that that can help that program based off the program's need, not just based off the fact that she can run and dribble and shoot it in the hole, in the hoop. You got to know what the needs of that program is, because a lot of times if you got a team that for us, we did some dribble drive stuff this year, and then now you're trying to sell to me a guard that can't dribble with her left hand. And so you have to think about those things, because just because it was a right fit for you necessarily mean that it's a right fit for us. And we don't have the time or the resources to really and truly spend a whole lot of money on, like, sometimes our kids, like with the pandemic right now, we went to summer school for the time that we were going to be allotted to get them over the summer. So now when we get them on campus in August, they have to be ready to go. So it's just a little bit different, because just be mindful of everybody's trying to shoot a coach their kid. And I can just say this because people know I'm probably a little bit too honest sometimes, because sometimes people see that just because I'm at UAPB, you can just try to sell me anybody. And like sometimes these AAU coaches especially, and let me just say this, since we're keeping it real with Coach Jay Brown.
Yes, we do.
These AAU coaches, I've noticed, they just want to have an offer out there to make their programs look great. And it doesn't matter if that kid is a good fit or not. It's like, Coach, I got a kid. I need your kid. I got a kid. I know you're going to offer her. And I know for a fact I was offering 2023s and 22s who, if they're that good for me to offer them right now, you very well might not even have a shot at getting those kids in 3 years. But before I can hang up the phone, it's on Twitter. Coach Diva, Coach UAPB with the UAPB logo has offered this kid. And I'm like, if that's what it's coming down to, then that's just what it is. But for us, like, I want to make sure that the kid is the right fit, because it's a little bit more unique with us. When we sign a kid, we want to try to keep that kid in the program for the duration of their academic careers. We don't want it to be a situation where they're leaving, and so it has to be the right fit. And so I think coaches just have to understand, study the program. I think if you'll impress a coach if you say, well, Coach, hey, I saw last year that you was doing this, and this, and I got a kid that'll help you do X, Y, and Z. I think that'll get their attention for sure. But because, you think about it, we get stuff every day.
Do you think it's important to recruit to fit your system of play as well?
Well, I definitely feel like that is important. You can always teach them because, we've been running some form of the chin offense, Princeton offense. We've been doing a lot of dribble drive stuff. And so I think it's important for them to have those fundamentals down pat, being able to drive and finish left and right, being able to pull up at the basket, being able to finish with being able to pass. Those are some things that are really, really important. And, it's hard. It's going to be hard for you to find a high school coach that's pretty much doing the same exact thing that you're doing. Those situations aren't too common in women's basketball. In men's basketball, it is, but women's basketball, it's not. But, I think that for you to have an opportunity just to kind of understand that they need to have those sound fundamentals, I think that that's important for us to make sure that we have so they can transition a lot easier.
Yeah, I coach girls AAU, and I'm not going to by no means, because we're young. It was going to be a first year program. We were just going to be 8th through 10th graders, and we had 2 11th graders that just really wanted to play and just be out there and get the experience. So we're just trying to develop them into decent basketball players that can potentially one day fit somebody's system. But if they don't, we give them a good experience. So here's another question. How instrumental are junior college prospects to 4-year institutions?
Oh, we want them. They're like the microwave effect. You put them in, they come out, they just ready. So, we signed 6 this year. Out of the 6, we had 3 junior college transfers coming in. We had 3 to sit out, and 2 of those last season. So 2 of those 3 were junior college products. So like products of junior colleges. So we want them. Coaches want them. If you need some type of instant success, I think that having a junior college prospect is something that you definitely really and truly need. And I am a fan of it. I'm sold. I'm team. I need to get a shirt made for the next junior college tournament. I'm team JUCO. I love them. They come in ready. They want to have a chip on their shoulder. A lot of them have the will to actually want to be able to have a professional career. And so, being able to put them in a situation to where they can be successful, they want to hear about it.
Your face lit up real big time when I asked that question. My cousin actually asked that question because he coaches at a junior college down here and he coaches women.
Okay.
So and he's got a couple recruits that are coming in next year that should be pretty good for him. I'll keep my eye out for you. I got you covered.
Okay.
Are games available on YouTube? This coach asked because they would love to see what you're doing.
No, our games aren't on YouTube. I think they will be streamed there next year. We got some new software in that's really, really, really fancy. I forgot what it's called, but it's really fancy. It's I don't know what it is. But if they want to go to our Instagram page, you'll see highlights for all the games of our season this year to see exactly what we did, what we ran defensively, what we like to do. And that's Diva Coach UAPB, and then or UAPB_WBB. And so you can see highlights of our team this past season of majority of every game that we played this year. At least we played 30 games, so at least 25 of those games are on there.
Okay. Now let's get back to me a little bit.
Okay.
Facebook drops more questions than could. We shouldn't be much longer, but I know you like to talk, so we're good. If I ask Coach Yo or Coach Haney or Coach Tron, any coaches that you've named or that you didn't name, and I know them for whatever reason, what are the 2 most important characteristics that they're going to say about Dawn Brown?
They're going to call me a diva.
Let me tell you what's funny about that. That is actually my wife's name.
Really?
Her biological, on her birth certificate, all day long, her name is Diva Brown.
Oh, you made a good decision. Good job, Coach.
I did. I made a great decision.
But I think that they'll say that I'm a team player. Whatever it is, in order for the program to be successful, I like to try to feel whole. I'm a whole feeler.
Right.
Where people are lacking or areas that, we just need to be able to get some things done, we're going to do it. And the other thing I would say is I'm really, really passionate about recruiting. So they'll say something along the lines of recruiting, being passionate in recruiting, and, or something like, me just being a mom, like Coach Haney used to say, I'm like the auntie on staff. So I'm like that person, wants to try to help them cook and invite them over. Y'all come, let's talk. Let's chat. And so that's what they would say, but definitely someone that's trustworthy and loyal and love what they do.
So you mentioned it. Let's talk a little bit. You mentioned some of your offensive philosophy of dribble drive. What is your primary offensive philosophy? And then talk your defensive philosophy behind it.
Well, one thing that we wanted to push this year was, I would like to call it a push and pull offense. So, we want to push the ball as fast, and we want to try to score within the first 5 or 6 seconds on the clock. We like to think that we'll be in shape and that we can run. And even our post players, we want them to be able to rim run. Let me tell you what we did though. We started off the year running a 4-out 1-in in transitional break. And we were struggling with our guards finishing. And we're struggling with our guards finishing is because we're teaching our post players, as soon as the ball comes off of the backboard, go, run, sprint down the floor. But the problem that we're having is now you're clogging up the paint with your defender standing there at that point while the guard still has the ball, and with the guard still having the ball, so now she's right there in motion to get ready to finish, and your man is trailing right there, being in the way. So we changed that. We started running a lot of 5-out stuff. So we run the 5 spots on the floor, spread the floor out, and give you an opportunity to go one-on-one and get to the basket for an and one. So that's what we like to do, and then that's easier for us to do on a fast break, to get into our transitional offense, into some form of our dribble drive. So, you can pass it up, cut through, brush cut, and being able to attack the basket. At that point, our post player, if we don't have something we can't score eventually, we can't score initially out of the first 5 or 6 seconds, at that point, we'll get our post players made to set an on-ball screen if she was trailing in one of those spots, and she can roll to the basket, and that'll put us in our 4-out 1-in. And so that's what we like to do at that point, to try to play off that pass and go, pass, set a screen, everybody else rotate, and the post player, I cut, you cut, circle cut, different type of cut actions, depending on whatever the action is on the opposite side. If we're trying to, if we had to inbound the ball, had to bring the ball up the floor, then we're probably going to go into a lot of our chin series. And then the last 10 seconds of the shot clock, we'll automatically go into our quick hit Iverson series, stuff that we are really, really comfortable with. We have a lot of stuff we do out of our Iverson series. So that's pretty much what we do offensively. Defensively, that's who we are. That's who we are. AAU coaches, high school coaches, junior college coaches want to know who we are. We are a defensive-minded team. We're going to try to make you turn the ball over as much as possible. That's what we want to happen. We press in conference. We press probably 30 of the 40 minutes. We're going to press you the whole game. If we can't press you the whole game, or we're not pressing the whole game, it's going to be somebody on the ball at all times. There's some times that, if the point guard passes the ball up because of the fact that we have somebody on you, then we'll go and face guard, make sure the point guard doesn't have to get the ball back so they can wait to get somebody else to start and initiate the offense. So we're going to junk it up defensively. It works for us because by the time that a coach may call a timeout, a quick timeout, make the adjustment, we're going to tweak it a little bit. You may think that we're in the same thing and then we're in something totally different. So we probably had at least 7 or 8 different half-court defenses, and just a plethora of presses. My assistant coaches, when we started talking about defense, they was like, "Oh, coach, I got this. And so we just put it all in. Let's just run it all. Yeah, let's do it.
We are family, because I pick you up in the parking lot when your bus pulls up. We are
That's
there.
it.
We will escort you to your locker room, politely let you get dressed, and then walk you to the court for warm-ups. I love it.
That's it.
I try to keep my offense as simple as possible because I believe that I'm gonna create all my offense, my defense, and that's just the way I roll. And the shooting the ball within 5 to 7 seconds, beautiful, just beautiful.
Well, when you have a team like ours last year, who weren't really scorers, who really couldn't shoot the ball like we really wanted it to, like we wanted them to shoot it. Throwing the ball fast in transition is always a great option for you. But then also being able to let your defense be in your best offense. I talked about that all year. Our defense is we have to be able to get some type of converted buckets coming back down from defense. We have to.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to Facebook for a couple questions. I don't want to butcher the name, but I'm probably about to butcher it. Kadada Brown said,
my sister, Kadada.
Said, hey, sis, we're tuned in from the SIP.
Okay.
So here's a question. It says, what's the process you go through to hire assistants, and what is your advice for those looking to move up?
That's a great question. A lot of times when coaches become, when people get new positions and become new head coaches at a different place, I don't even know how to get your email address before it's even released to the website. And everybody starts sending over resumes and trying to call and get their foot in the door. And I need to be as transparent as possible because I need the young and upcoming coaches to understand that coaches want to hire people who they know. Coaches hire people who are loyal, and coaches want to hire people that work hard. And so for us, I think the biggest thing that you want to do in the beginning is hire someone that you know. You need to know who's with your kids. And there are a lot of great assistant coaches out there that aren't connected to their next head coach at some point. But if you don't have to establish a relationship or try to get in the door after the coach gets the job, you can do it now. So just like, I have a few young women, young men that I mentor from time to time. And they reached out to me. It's like, well, coach, if you don't have a job this year for me, I would love for you to be a mentor to me. And has really been relentless in trying to continue that relationship with me. And then when I move on, or, if come open on my staff somewhere, it's a no-brainer. But, coaches want to hire people who they know and who they can trust. It's hard to get your foot in the door. And, it's not easy for you to be able to just go from high school and jump into a Division I assistant position. Like your time will come. It'll happen for you at the right moment when God says that it's your time to go. But just understand it's okay for you to be in waiting and just continue to do the things that you do. And not just because the coach has a job vacancy this year and you apply for the job, chosen for it, then that coach doesn't hear from you ever again. That could be a relationship that can be established, and it can help you out 3 years down the road.
Can we expect a SWAC championship for UAPB anytime soon? We better.
We have a really good recruiting class coming in this year. I think that we should be able to contend to compete a lot better this year. We did a really good job last year too, to be honest with you. Our record didn't do justice to the type of work ethic that our kids had. I'm really pleased with them. I'm really excited. So we laid the foundation last year. So we'll have an opportunity this upcoming season to really go out and see the fruit of our labor. So I'm excited about it. We've got a great class coming in. So we better be.
Here's another good question, I think. What are your expectations and goals going into your second year at UAPB, both on and off the court?
To win. That's it. To win. People, you want to have a good culture. We had no off the court issues or problems last year, and that's a blessing. Okay, college kids grown. I'm grown. Coach, I'm grown. We had no off the court. We had no off the court issues last year with our program, and so having an opportunity for them to continue to kill it in the classroom. Our team cumulative GPA was a 3.1 3.12. So we had 3.0 cumulative team GPA. But the biggest thing is to win. Like, you know, we're going to take care of business off the court. We're visible in the community. We're doing things. We're hands-on. You can see us. You can touch us. We're there. We're going to, my program is always going to try to be in the spotlight of doing what's right. But at the end of the day, people want to win, and that's what's important. That's what we're going to try to focus on. We're going to work hard, and that's what you do it for. You don't play basketball just to say you're playing basketball. Play basketball and you play sports to win. And my fiance got too many championships under his belt. He didn't pass me up. And so it's competitive over here, and he going to leave me if I don't win a championship. So I got to win.
He ain't going to leave you, but you better win so you can brag a little bit in the house.
Absolutely.
So another question that I'm getting more questions today than I've gotten ever. What's the most rewarding part of your coaching experience?
You know, obviously being able to see our students graduate and move on, but to actually see them in their careers is what's most rewarding to me. Watching them, Jeanette Jackson, one of my former players, Shamaya Brooks, watching them come in. I had an opportunity to recruit them as a freshman. They played for the program for 4 years. So I watched them grow and mature in 4 years. Graduate, both of them went on and got graduate degrees. Watching them get 2 degrees, and then now watching them work. I was FaceTiming Shamaya the other day, and she was grading papers, and Jeanette is coaching basketball at Prairie View. Actually being able to see them in their field, doing the things that they love, accomplishing and setting those goals that they actually, you know, were able to do, because basketball is a small piece. A lot of times when our student athletes, they graduate from college, if you don't have an opportunity to play a professional career, what are you going to do with your life? Coach Tron used to tell our kids all the time, the ball is going to stop bouncing. And to be able to see what that looks like for them after they've graduated, after they finish, that's something that's very rewarding to me, that I'm like, oh, wow.
Coach Anderson, Erica Anderson, how has COVID affected with bonding and building with your current team?
You know, we had an opportunity to get on our, and I probably shouldn't say this because they're like, well, Coach Brown, what are you doing? But we had an opportunity to get on our first Zoom call last week. And it was good because, you know, our season ended abruptly because of the COVID-19, although we lost in the first round of the tournament anyway. But we were on the bus headed back when we found out about it. And so everybody was kind of like shook up, trying to, let's get back home, and trying to figure out what's tomorrow, what's the next day going to be like. And so having an opportunity to see them this past week, I must say it was just like the first day of school. I was really glad and happy to see them. Our shift immediately began to focus on recruiting when we initially, when the season was initially over. Everybody was trying to get that recruiting class done, solidified. And so seeing them, it was heartfelt. And so they have to check in with me once a week. We FaceTime each other. We don't talk on the phone. That's something else that I learned when I was at JU for Coach Haney, is that we don't talk on the phone with our students. We FaceTime. So we need to see you. Let me look at your eyes. Let me see what you got going on. Let me make sure that I can see that you're okay, not just hearing that you're okay. So we talk all the time, and they have to check in with us once a week. And so it's been really rewarding, and I've enjoyed being able to embrace this time away, so we can learn how to communicate more effectively with one another.
This one is, any info on the upcoming schedule? Are there any exciting matchups you're looking forward to?
Our new athletic director, Chris Peterson, he pulled our schedule this year, helping us in a good way. Because of the COVID, I think, in the past, last season, out of 9 games, I believe we may have flown 7 or 8. Out of 10 games in the preseason. We've flown 7 or 8 to 7 places. And it's so hard, adjusting to that every game, like, flying in, getting off, go eat, go practice, come back, watch film, eat, go to bed, get up, do it all over again, play, get on the plane, go home. But now we only taking one flight. And so we're actually playing Central Arkansas this year twice, which is right up the street, which is great for us. Playing Arkansas State twice this year, which is great. They're up the street for us. We're able to host 3 home games this year. And 2 of those being Division I teams, great for us. But everything has been kind of local within like a 400-mile radius. We're going to play La Tech this year. We're going to go to University of Michigan, University of Oklahoma, but it's a really great schedule, to be absolutely honest with you. I'm excited about it. It should be highly competitive. So we can come out and do some of the things that we like to do. It should be a great year for us.
Oftentimes it's said that a team takes on the identity of the coach. So outside of defense, or that could be your identity, what is the identity of a Dawn Brown team?
Defense. It's high energy. Come to a game. We are screaming and we are yelling and the bench is up. You're constantly seeing the officials telling me to tell everybody to sit down. My staff is up and it's just energy everywhere. And there are a few times even in the game where if, I know there was a big play that was made, if I have somebody on my bench or, players sitting on the bench and they're not giving the energy that they need to be given out, you need to go to the locker room. You need to go to the locker room because, we are high, intense, energetic, fun. Everything, like some days, we'll be in your face. Well, for me, I'll be in the face and on them and tough on them, but they know it's coming from a good place because, we love on them so much and always hugging and celebrating with them. But for us, I think the biggest thing is it's energy. Defense, I'm a defensive minded coach. I love defense. I love to defend. But it's that energy. We had a kid, we played a team in our conference. I won't name that team, played a team in our conference. And I had a post player on her on the inbound. She got 5 steals in 2 minutes just off of the inbound alone. Because before the referee even give you the ball, we jumping up in your face and we screaming before you even get the ball. And people be looking like, well, what is wrong with her? Just here, get the ball. Just here, you can have it. You can have it. So just a lot of energy. We're really excited, and we're thankful to be able to have an opportunity to play this game. We lost a student athlete this year, and so we're thankful. We're blessed. We're blessed to be able to play this game, and so we're just excited, and that's what you'll see.
Comment said, "Heck, her coaches and staff coaches/staff even take on her identity." Yeah. So I'll ask this question. It'll probably be one of the last questions unless some more pop up on Facebook. How energetic are you on the sideline? Because let me tell you why I'm asking this, because my wife ridicules me because I'm 6'7" and I'm not exactly the smallest person. So when I begin to scream and yell, she's like, I can see their faces. It's demeaning, but it's coaching and they know I love them. So how energetic, because I'm energetic on the sideline. You would think I'm in the game. I probably sweat more than my players, but how energetic are you on the sideline?
Very energetic and very animated. Very animated. I like to keep our students engaged. This is a new generation. It's different from, the old school way. They like to see you celebrate and you excited about them. It was one game we even played this year. There was no seats on our bench. I sat in one of my kids' laps, but while the game was going on back and forth, from one lap to the next lap to the next lap. And they love it. Like, people in the fans, our administration, our athletic director, everybody, our chancellor, they love it. They love it. And it's the game of basketball exciting. When you can see a coach enjoying what they do, the players do take on the mindset of the head coach. the players will also enjoy what they do. Because I tell them all the time, okay, if it's a win or a loss, okay, did we win the game we won? Did you enjoy winning? Well, not really. Well, why not? Because we didn't have fun. So we always telling our students that we want you to have fun. I'm going to have fun coaching. That's why I'm doing it. I enjoy what I do. That's what my staff does, and we're going to have a good time.
I'm laughing at the comment. Coach Anderson goes, Coach,
I'm not even on Facebook. What are they saying?
no, she said, because I'm talking to you through Zoom, but I'm watching it on my phone, so I can't get the questions. Coach Anderson said, she's high energy, animated, and intimidating in 4-inch heels. She's like, that is the normal, even for me.
You know what? Let me say something, because E is my girl, and I got one game this year. I got one tech this year, and I got the tech this year because I really and truly feel like the official 5, 6, and on game day I'm 6, 7, and I'm fussing at my team. I'm never going to fuss at the referee. You know, fussing at an official never changes the call. It doesn't ever work in your favor. So, you know, you just really don't even want to set your kids up for failure by even doing it. Now, I'm not ever challenging an official, but she's right. You know, there needs to be something that has to be for us 6-foot women, Coach Anderson, with size 12 and 13 shoes that we stomping all up down the floor, and 6'6" and 6'7" on game days, because she's right. That is a struggle for us, and we have to sometimes channel it and box it in. And so it's hard, but as long as my kids having fun, we're gonna have a good time. That's all that matters to me.
How tall are you flat-footed?
6 on paper it say 6'3", but I'm about 6. So that means I'm about 6'2". I'm 6'2", 6'2.5".
Yeah, I've got the tech because I'm 6'7", and the guy stops about right here, and he's talking to me, and I'm like,
Coach, we don't stand a chance, Coach.
I'm like, whatever, guy. Could you imagine that because Ed Geff is one of my best friends. He was like, dude, if we were on the same staff, we'd be one of the most intimidating staffs ever. I said, yeah, we get a lot of texts that you have to be quiet. She said, I swear that's what I always got in texts because they're always looking up at me. It's good to hear that it happens to women too. I'm not saying it's right, but it's good to hear that it happens to y'all too.
Right.
That is good. So if you have to get a stop and you know you're down, whatever reason, what defense are you going to get your stop? And you know you got to get this stop. I'm going to say to win the game. Where are you going to? Are you pressing man to man? What you doing?
It depends on what the score is, but if we need a stop, I didn't really talk much about my staff. Nobody really asked me about them, but my staff, both Coach Nicole Meelan and Coach Kyle Adams, has done a phenomenal job with adding defense, you know, certain schematics in our defense. And so one defense that we ran this year that Coach Meelan put in, I've talked to some other coaches since season has been over, and they're like, Coach, yeah, you're in that 1-3-1. And I would say it would be that, Coach, because it's not even a 1-3-1, and people still think it's a 1-3-1. So, Coach, I would definitely say, and I don't want to say what it is because, you know, I don't know who's watching, but Coach Meelan installed the defense, and if we ran it 50 times, I know for a fact we got 45 stops out of the 50, because people still think it's a 1-3-1, and it's not a 1-3-1. You know, we have some other things. Say that again.
I'm gonna get that from you when we're off live.
Look, I'll give you my assistant's number so you can. She installed it. It's hers. It's not mine. I give them their props. They shine. They still trying to figure it out. I mean, everybody struggled with it this year. So, but I would say that would be the defense. And if we needed to press full court to try to get a bucket, we'll run a similar press to get back into that same defense. But we'll get on it. I can't say what it is, but offline, make sure I give you my assistant number. She'll teach it to you.
Gotcha. Last question, and then what advice are you going to give the young and up and coming coaches who are just trying to get into the game, period, no matter the level?
You know, I think the biggest thing is what I used to tell my players all the time is not standing out, and then you're blending in. You got to really figure out what's going to separate you from the next person, what's going to make you stand out, what's going to make you special. And you need to identify with it. Everybody who gets over the phone, everyone who interviews is going to talk about how hard they work. They're all going to talk about how well they recruit. They're going to talk about how much basketball that they know. But you need to identify what's going to separate you from the crowd. That's one of the biggest things that I would understand. And then wait on your turn to move up. You know, a lot of times when you're first getting your foot in the door, some of the things that I've seen in the past is that, you know, just because you started coaching, you just, you know, got your first year, you've been at an NAI school, you've been at a Division II school, you've been at a junior college, now want to be able to go and be on the big stage. Wait till your turn. When is your turn? When is your time? God's timing is always the best time, and it won't happen.
Come back through. Uh-oh, that's frozen.
To wait on your time to be able to walk in their light. I'm frozen.
Oh no, you're good now.
Okay.
I just thought of two more. Well, one more for sure. Do the player, you have to answer one because I know they go hand in hand, so that's the easy way out. So I'm not giving you the easy way out. Do the coaches make the player, or do the players make the coaches?
Ooh. If you would have asked me that before I got to UAPB, I would have said the coaches make the players. But after I got this job here, the players make the coaches. You know, if you have players that's stubborn and you're used to doing things one way and you realize that no matter whatever you try to install, they're still going to do it their way. You just need to you as a coach need to find a different way of being able to get it handled. So I just make the coach. The harder that they work, the more that they want to be pushed, the more that they want to be challenged, the more it puts you in a situation to where you got to work harder, where you got to be challenged, and it pushes you and stretches you, I think. So I think the players make the coaches. That's a great question.
Well, that'll conclude our live session. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. If you have any other questions that you didn't pop up for Coach Dawn Brown or for myself to get to her or for me to answer, please drop them on this live video. It is on her page, so she'll see them or I'll get them to her if she does not. I appreciate everybody tuning in to this episode of One-on-One Conversations with Coach Jay.